Okay. So
wait, does that mean it's gone?
Yep. It's
So
gone.
I was thinking of like what we should call our community. Guess. Cool, because we were talking about this the other day of like fan bases.
Yeah.
You know, like Jake Paulers. No, we can't do Jake Paulers. But I was thinking of one that's perfect for the podcast.
What?
Humans. What's up, humans?
I mean, that works.
Because we're all
humans.
humans.
Yeah.
However, if we ever want to get an alien on the podcast, then we'd have an issue.
Right.
But we do have a human
guest.
sitting right next to us. We're sitting here today with Kaden Whiteley on the day before he gets married. So what's the feeling like? Describe how you feel today. What's like the general feeling in the air?
You know what? There's a lot of different emotions going through right now.
Right.
Oh, dude, it's super nerve-wracking. We planned this wedding for like about a year now, and there's nothing we could do until about like 2-3 months before the wedding actually starts. So, I feel like I've been stressed out about it for like a year, and then it just like got totally added stress. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Once we finally were able to start putting money down, saving up. Kylie, my fiance, she got in a car accident 3 months ago, and so we drained some of our money out that we were saving for this to a new car. So anyway, like a lot of emotions, some that I can't even really describe, honestly. Like, it's nerve-wracking, really scary. I'm definitely probably going to cry when she walks up,
Yeah.
But I just want to say, like, whoever culturalized weddings to be like this, just wow. Well, there's a lot of people that like photographers. One of our photographers was really bad at communicating with us.
Yeah.
And towards the end, like, there's a lot of things that go by, like, just barely. Like today, Kylie head up to the wedding venue, and she called them to ask if we could leave some stuff there, and boom, all of a sudden they're like, hey, yeah, you got to put down a $500 cleaning deposit.
Man.
So I just like, okay, here's $500, just like, wish I would have known about this, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like all that added stuff, but it's just a cleaning deposit, so we'll obviously get it back. It's just
like, why didn't you tell me about it?
Right, exactly. And then it goes to, okay, well, there's $500 that I could be using on something else, you know what I mean? Like ice.
Yeah.
Like, we have an ice truck that was supposed to come to the venue, and they bailed on us.
Why?
Just that's the thing, they're human beings, No
Yeah.
one's perfect, but like, they just
Right.
are really bad at communicating, you know.
Yeah.
And I get it, but all of a sudden, sorry, we can't bring ice, so now we have to go to Costco, get 20-pound bags of ice, and then bring it all the way over there instead of having a guy in a truck bringing us ice.
Instacart. You could get some Instacart.
That's pretty
bitch.
far, dude. That's pretty far.
There's gonna be a big tip on that.
Yeah, all the way up the canyon.
Yeah, and then there's the $500
I've had orders
I could
like
have been
that
using
before.
for a tip.
I've had orders like that before. If you leave them, $20 tip. They're like, yeah, $20.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's the $500 I could have used on an Instacart person, making his
For
day.
sure.
Yeah.
No,
That
I had
would
to use it on a cleaning deposit.
Yeah.
In Utah, it's really hard, dude, because like, if you want to put alcohol out there in the question of a wedding,
You need a liquor license? Or the
well,
venue does?
no, necessarily we had 3 venues that we switched. Like, we've looked at 3 different venues, and with it being in Utah, dude, you have to have a licensed bartender. You can't just, some venues, they won't allow you just to put a cooler out with beer. And you have to have, obviously the bartender license. The venue makes the bartender charge so much per drink, whether it's a beer or whether it's hard alcohol. Like, his flat rate's like $1,000 or whatever, and then $5 per drink by him just like going over to grab a beer, opening it, and giving it to you.
Wow.
That's whack.
And so, then they do about about 3 drinks per person, right? It adds up.
So,
Dude. Like, it was
like-
jaw dropping. I was like, are you kidding me?
So let me get this straight. Like, you can't just go to Costco and get a ton of beer and hand it out to people. You have to have a bartender.
Well, that
Or is
depends on the venue.
Okay.
So the venues, they're like, hey, you have to have this, and you have to have, X, Y, and Z
Got it.
for alcohol. So then we found Hellstone Campground. So it's considered a campground, but it's a venue, and they're allowing alcohol plus no bartender.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Shout
so
out.
yeah, it was a headache. I mean, it is a freaking hour away from home base, so that's that. But we were about to spend a lot of money on a bartender.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? It's so culturalized. Like here in Utah,
Oh,
like
Utah is a different story.
Oh, dude.
Like, it's crazy.
yeah, like you could really make a really good living. Oh, sorry if I worded that crappy, but
No.
no,
I got it.
you can make a good living wedding planning. And
Well,
And
even
how-
like wedding photographers and wedding videographers is like the biggest like group of creatives in Utah.
Yeah.
And
At
if
least
you
that are like professional creatives that make money.
right, and if you can figure out like a clientele, like a person that you really like, someone who's trustworthy, someone who is about their word and does a really great job, and doesn't pull out, just things
Right.
out of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everything would be so much smoother. But like what I'm saying, like if you're planning on getting married, don't plan a wedding for a whole year. Like as soon as you pop the question, that's when you should start worrying about a wedding. And I would give it like maybe 3 months. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. A lot of people here in Utah do. They meet their significant other, and then boom, they're getting married in like 2 months of knowing each other. And
Yep.
it's like, and they're like, holy cow, they're having the wedding so quick. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you need to focus on. You can't just plan a wedding. I mean, you can do all the small things and stuff like that, like what we did. But Kylie had a photographer 8 months ago, and they flaked on us, and then she found someone else, and there's a bunch of other
Factors that you don't expect.
yeah, dude, it's unreal. Like what I was just saying, I just had to pull $500 out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just you have to do it,
yeah.
I mean, you'll get it back, but that's $500 that I could have used on a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So what
Man.
would you estimate is like someone who wants to have a wedding, but like the average amount of money to round it up, if you were to put a lump sum amount on it?
see that's a really tough question because you gotta, there's if
I
you
know
want
some people can do a really cheap.
well, if you want to do a
can get away
formal
with it.
wedding, if you want to do a formal wedding where you want a venue, you want a DJ, you want. I mean, I know there's few people that I work with, dude, that just barely got married out on the beach, out in
Yeah.
Oregon.
That's
And
my
In Oregon,
vibe.
that's cool.
you know what I mean? Like just out on the Oregon beach, they had their officiant and then they had their bridesman and groomsmen, and I think, and after that they all just went to a hotel and partied.
Yeah.
So, him was probably around $500, not adding him paying for the officiant to drive all the way out there because they're all from Utah, and so, I mean, really it depends on what you want. If you want to have a formal wedding, you better hope that mom and dad are helping you out.
yeah.
Wow, dude. I mean, here in Utah, we were looking at venues that were ranging to $5,000.
Just
For
for
one
the
night?
just for the
For
venue.
one night.
Just securing
Yep, $5,000
the
for
venue.
one night.
Like not that also I'm pretty sure that doesn't like include like well, I guess it depends on the venue.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't include like the tables or like the
Yeah, tables.
decorations.
Oh, dude, I
like,
could go
that
off.
stuff doesn't come with the venue. The venue is like strictly like
just the place
just,
on where you.
like you
yeah.
can be here this day. Like that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you're paying for.
Yep.
Yep.
There's decorations that are just like, just out of the blue type decorations. You know what I mean? And I mean, me and Kylie, we went to Hobby Lobby and we grabbed all these portrait, like these little cheap, the covers, book, no, not photography. What? I'm totally spacing out this word. It's
What
the,
is it
Like a
used
photo
for?
book?
yeah, no, not a photo book. It's just a photo case or whatever that you set on desks.
Oh, like with like sleeves in it?
Yeah, you just put your photo in
The
it and then
album?
no,
A photo album?
no, it's photo cover or something like that.
Like a plastic casing to like.
yeah,
put-
yeah, the casing
A frame?
frame. Yeah,
Let's go. Frame.io.
there's a lot. I'm so nervous, guys. I'm sorry.
You're good, bro. It's all good.
frame.
Photo frame. Y'all. My brain.
So I kind of want to also just dive into your story. And like, I feel like one of my goals in having conversations with people on this podcast is like, let's get an understanding of what makes them tick, what makes them how they are, and why they are the way that they are.
Yeah.
So like, maybe let's run it way back to the beginning of your story, and just like, where were you born?
All right. Yeah.
Where'd you start? What was your spawn point?
So I was born here in Provo.
Okay.
My whole life, I always thought I was born in American Fork. I don't know why, but when I went to go get my passport, they're like, "You're actually born in Provo." I'm like, "What?" So random. But anyway, yeah,
Changes everything.
I was born here in Provo, Utah. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and my oldest sister is 36, I think 35. So we have we're pretty typical Utah family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So born and raised in Linden, Utah.
As a kid, like what kind of stuff like did you like to do? Like what kind of activities does a kid in Linden do?
Dude, when I was a kid, so my family has some property right, in the backyard, so I would do a lot of pretending. A lot of it, dude. I would go out, like I had an imagination that was
Yeah.
wild.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, like one day I would go to the Halloween costume tote, grab my Spider-Man, go out and be Spider-Man. And then I would go out, put my church shirt on and my church pants, my church shoes, and then put on like a Indiana Jones hat. And I would go find a whip and I would just go out, dude, and just pretend I'm Indiana Jones. And
Let's go.
ninjas, Power Rangers. But mostly I would pretend hunting because my whole family, we hunt. And so my brothers, they would come out and they would go out and they would go shoot a deer, bring it back, and they would have the head. And I would literally drag the head out to the pasture and like get my cap gun and shoot it and just pretend like I'm in a hunting video. And I'm just going up and I'm like, thanks for everyone who helped. And you know what I mean? Yeah, dude. I had a pretty wild imagination. And it just got more wild when I like started getting older.
Yeah.
That's the part that's so weird is you start out with imagination, right? And you would think that like your imagination's so big until you start getting new things. Like when I was 6, my mom and dad got me a bow for Christmas, and that just changed everything, dude. I was shooting my cat, and they gave me blunt tips, and it was like a 10-pound bow. So I was only shooting at like 20 feet, but still 20 feet was pretty far for a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hitting
And-
a cat like a moving
Yeah,
cat.
yeah. Like I had a little white cat. It was my sister's cat. Sorry, Kaylee. But I would pull my bow back and I would shoot and I would just drill that freaking cat. I was like, holy cow! And it still kicked. It still was alive.
Yeah.
You know?
They got 9 lives.
Yeah, they do. But I've hit her more than 9. That's not true. They don't have 9 lives. They got a lot more than that.
Yeah. They're immortal, higher dimensional beings
Yeah.
that lurk among us. You say that you were raised like on a farm because there are a lot of other animals. Like I've been to your
farmland.
parents'
Yeah,
house.
I mean, I wouldn't say like a total farm, but I mean, like I had horses, chickens,
Dogs.
pigeons, bunnies, dogs. I mean, it's 3 acres
Kind of like a
or
homestead.
2 acres.
life.
Yeah, it's like a homestead life. Yeah, of course. I mean, you have your garden, you got everything you possibly need, and we have gray water so we can run the sprinklers and keep the grass growing, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's kind of like a homestead.
So I want to hear about your first real hunting experience that didn't involve any cats.
Okay. My first hunting experience.
the
Was
kill.
it small game or big game?
Small game. So my dad got me a shotgun for Christmas, and the day after Christmas we went out rabbit hunting, and that was top notch. Like I didn't even like it was so good that I didn't even want to do it again.
Oh, you didn't want to ruin it like that.
Yeah,
You're like,
I
I'm
didn't
satisfied.
like. I was like, you know what? Like,
How
and
old
I
were
was,
you?
dude, I was 12. I was 12, and I was like, this is so good. I don't even want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I just did like a whole life fulfilled of rabbit hunting in 2 hours.
How many did you get?
I can't even tell you. I don't even know, dude. It
And
was
you're just
so
running around
many
with a
rabbits,
shotgun,
dude. Yeah,
and then you
dude.
see them and go, puck.
Yeah,
See
we
them?
didn't have dogs. You know, we would have a line. My dad would be like, "Bunny, boom!" You know what I mean?
From
They
what
might-
range, roughly?
Well, I mean, they typically run after like you get within like 15 yards of them.
Okay, so
And
you're
they,
pretty
and
close.
then you know they're hauling, so you have
Yeah.
to lead out in front of them and shoot, and then they fly right into the bullet.
And then would you like practice before with like clay pigeons? Well, you said this
yeah.
right after you got.
Oh
the
yeah,
shotgun.
I've done shotgun shooting my whole life with skeets and stuff like that.
What does a skeet mean?
It's
I only know about
clay
underwear
pigeon.
skeets.
Clay pigeon.
Okay.
What's up with pigeons?
Hey, pigeons are pretty dope.
I know.
Actually, it turns out.
I know. Yeah. I mean, but pigeons, they have a really good use for a lot of things. But
So what, like talk about the transition between small game and going into big game. Why did you do that? What drew you to that?
so, I mean, when I was 12, that was like the first time you could actually hunt here in Utah. So, I mean, I've always dreamed of going on a big game, but it never was a transition because my parents and my family was drawn to it. You know what I mean? They get a tag every year and they go up and they go hunt. And it was something I was super excited about because it was super cool as a kid, you know, coming home and my brothers would bring home an elk or a deer and stuff like that. And it's just like this animal that's just out there that has horns, you know, it's a pretty drawing thing. You know what I mean? I mean, anyway, like my first big game experience, I didn't shoot anything. I actually remember it. The opening day we walk into the steep canyon down in central Utah, and first deer we see was a doe and a buck, and it was a giant buck. Like it was a big 4-point. You know, I was only 12. My dad is literally ripping my backpack off and getting the gun all set up. They're yelling at me. They're telling me to do something. You know what I mean? And I get down on there, and the deer stops. I shoot. I probably shot at him like 3 times, and I don't know how, but I missed him
Yeah.
completely.
Right.
But ever since then, like, it's totally changed. But
So, and then how did you transition into like bow hunting from, or which did you?
Because you did rifle first.
yeah, I did rifle. What really changed was I wanted more. You know, I wanted more of a challenge because it got to the point for me where I would just walk in, shoot a deer, shoot it, and like, all right, well, that's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was always drawn to the fact that, like, I didn't have to wear orange. Bow hunting is a good experience of your imagination again.
Explain that.
So you know how I was talking about how, you know, you have the imagination of you sneaking in, sneaking out in the pasture, you know, shooting something. Dude, you can go out and you can shoot a deer 500 yards away with your gun without even trying.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the one thing, you know, what's cool about it is, you know, if you can learn your guns, equations and stuff like that with how fast you're shooting and stuff like that stuff's cool. But nothing's better than you putting camo all over your face and not wearing orange, like
Elk
no one can
piss.
see you. Yeah, you get elk pee and squirted all over your shoes, and you just like you're a predator.
You're saying nothing beats that?
Nothing. Nothing.
Let me just
no,
clarify.
I'm talking about if you hunt. Nothing
Like
beats.
you would rather put elk piss on your shoes than go to Disneyland? I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately, yes.
I get how it is. Like, you gotta love everything about, like, that's what makes you really love something. Like,
Yeah, you gotta love all the
Like,
good and bad.
like
of
with
it,
me,
too.
like with making videos and stuff, like a lot of people would
Right.
say, like editing videos sucks, takes a lot of time, whatever. But it's like that sucky stuff too, where it kind of makes it feel like you worked for it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Like it wasn't
yeah.
just given to you. It's like,
Yeah.
I know this video is dope because I put 10 hours into this 5-second animation, and like when you put in the work, it gives you that confidence. But
Right. I mean, like with archery hunting, you have to be within 20 yards. Not even, well, I guess you don't have to be 20 yards, but like you can't fling an arrow at 100 yards.
Yeah.
You have to get close. And with the imagination deal is like you're running through every scenario in your head. Like, what if the wind swirls? Or, because, dude, deer and elk and big game in general, they're top elite animals. You know what I mean? Like, you watch videos on Animal Planet of a cougar chasing a deer, and the deer 9 times out of 10 wins. And even lions, dude, like out in Africa, like they're chasing gazelles
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Even cheetahs, they can't even beat. They
Right.
can't. They like 1 out of 10.
They spend, like, deer and elk, they spend their whole life trying to figure out how can they get away.
Exactly.
So they're, like, super skilled at sensing when someone is trying to kill them, like coming after them. And so for you to go in there with nothing but a bow and some pee on yourself and some camo, like,
Right.
it's such a challenge to
Right.
be able to figure out how can I, like, take down this animal.
Right. And I mean, this is a trip too, because out in Idaho, wolves, when you do an elk bugle, wolves will bugle back.
whoa,
Like, they mimic it.
So it's crazy, dude, because they literally they do their they do their howl, but it sounds just like an elk bugling, dude. Like you have no idea how many times when I first like went to Idaho and I went out there and I did bugles and then I heard it and I was like, is that a bugle? Like I'm gonna go check it out, and it's a freaking wolf pack.
Talk about that one experience that you had where you were hunting in.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So my wolf experience. So I mean, this one time I went up elk hunting, bugling. They don't bugle in Idaho when there's wolves around. They're there, but that's the thing. Like they learn to not bugle, and they don't communicate with each other. They have a tight circle. They are super anxious. If something smells weird in the air, they're getting out of there. They're running. That's what makes archery hunting so unique, is that you put in a lot of work. But anyway, my wolf experience is I was coming down back to the 4-wheeler. I didn't go the same way that I went in. And I was coming back down and I saw this stream, and I was taking this stream down, and it was freaking cool. It was beautiful. It was super quiet. That was one thing I remember, is how quiet it was. All you could hear was the stream. And then all of a sudden I just started seeing bones.
like floating down the stream?
No, not floating down the stream, just
Oh,
on the
like
side
on
of the
the-
stream.
okay.
Yeah. I'm walking down it, dude, and I see bones everywhere, dude. Like carcasses, like easy little carcasses that got dragged over. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what happened here? I wonder if like there was a mudslide forever ago or just something. And then all of a sudden I heard wolf howling all around me. I was surrounded by wolves. I had a wolf howl over here, wolf howl over here, just all surrounding me. And it just like felt like it was getting closer and closer. And then I saw a freaking den. And there was a freaking wolf den right next to the stream, like in the rock, dude. It was pretty wild. And you could hear the puppies just crying, dude. Mm-hmm. Just crying the whole time because they could smell me.
How close were you to the den by the point that you heard the wolves around you?
40, 50 yards until they just started howling, dude. Like they were watching me. Like that's the crazy part about going out and hunting, especially times like that, dude. And the area, it's just, there's wolves, there's grizzly bears, like there's grizzly bears and cougars. All like I had all 4 of the predators of North America in where I was hunting.
Do you, like, when you go out into an area like that, even if you're bow hunting, do you bring, like, a firearm with you?
Yeah, I do. I bring a
okay.
45.
Yeah, it is like defense.
Because grizzly bear, 9mm won't go through their head if they're charging at you.
Yeah.
It'll bounce right off.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of TikToks lately of like people that are just like hiking on a trail, and then they stumble across like a family of bears.
Yeah, and it's not even their fault either. It's because like like the video of the cougar up in Provo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, following that person.
Yeah, like right on the left or right side of the Y, right above the temple.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they were just walking, and the guy just happened to be really close to her baby, and so she freaked out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's cases like that, dude. Like, they're very protective and they're scared of you, but they're watching. You have things watching you, whether it's a cougar, bear, or wolf. Like, all of a sudden, dude, I started getting close to this wolf den. I just heard howling, and I looked over, and all the puppies were crying. Like, I couldn't see the puppies, but they were crying. And you're like, holy cow, like, I got my gun all loaded, ready to freaking murk some wolves, dude, because I was getting scared.
Ready for a movie scene where you just go, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
Those are weird
Kaden Wick.
Because you can't, like, it's not like they understand English. You can't be like, hey, yo, I'm just walking through. I'm not doing anything. So, like, like, when you walk through, they think that you're going to go after the puppies. You know, like, if you're doing behavior that may indicate that.
Right.
And so they're reacting as if you're trying to get them,
Yeah.
But
it's a natural thing.
Yeah, it's a natural thing.
So it's just something you have to get used to, you know what I mean? Like, you have to learn to appreciate that they're just taking care of their young. You know, they just went out to go find another carcass to drag next to the stream for the pups to come out and eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just it's
Just
definitely
hope it's not your carcass.
Right, yeah, exactly. I've heard so many stories, dude, like being in the hunting industry. I've heard everyone's got a story about whether it's a cougar, bear, wolf, like any badger, Wolverine.
Yeah, I forget who says this like quote, and maybe Cam Haynes or one of those guys, and they're saying like they talk about the probability of being killed by a bear, and they're like because like it's statistically really low, but then they're like, yeah, but that's if you're an average person that's not by bears. If you're in bear territory all the time, that probability is up way high. You know?
Yeah,
like,
if you're someone who's not familiar with it and you start going in and you start, because they can sense you, they can sense that you're scared. You know what I mean? Like they just know it's they've been doing it for years. It's in their blood. They know when you're scared. That same goes with horses. Yeah. Horses can sense if you're scared or not based on how tense you are around their belly, or you're not loose, you're all tight. Like that horse is going to freak out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about animals, because humans, we've got like a limited spectrum of our senses of like how far we can see, what we can smell, all these different things, what we can hear, and it's so limited, like the visual light spectrum that we can actually see compared to what animals see. They're seeing a totally different reality, or
their sense of like hearing is way beyond us,
or their sense of smell, like dogs.
Yeah,
like
is really crazy.
Is it true that like when like bears can smell really far away? So if there's like a fresh kill, they're like over like a mile away, they can still smell that, and they're like coming in.
Yeah, it depends
That's why
on.
You can't have food.
It depends on the wind. I mean, most of the time, after I kill something, that's the first thing I look at is wind. You know what I mean? Especially when I was out in Idaho. When you first get a kill, and you get up there, you look at where the wind's going. So if it's going downhill towards a valley of trees and stuff like that, like you want to kind of hustle. You know what I mean? Not saying like. You just want to step up the pace a little bit. You know what I mean? Or if it's blowing up on top of the mountain and you can see broad daylight, like how far you're going, like you're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like out in the wild and like out hunting, wind is like your number one factor of how everything happens.
Do you bring any tools with you to help with the wind?
Yep.
Or
I got a little I got this little thing called chalk in a box. Or checker in a box. And what you do is you just shake it and then you squeeze it, and then it just puffs up some little smoke. And some of them are like cedar scented, stuff like that. So and then it just
Then you'll
shows
see
where the
which
wind
way
direction.
the wind blows.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You always
That's what makes hunting so interesting to me, because for those that don't know, I just got into it. I'll be going on my first real hunt with Kaden.
Yep.
And it's like you have to be aware of these like things that you don't even think about in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't tell you the last time that I've been just driving around AF and be like, oh, the wind's going this way. You know,
Right.
like, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like for most of us, we don't have to think about that stuff.
Only if we're playing beer pong outside. That's the
Right.
only time I become a wind
Exactly.
expert. Where's the wind coming from?
right, and then you
Yeah.
English shot. That's just like shooting, dude.
Right. But it's like our early ancestors, they had to like know that stuff like the back of their hand, because it was really like it indicated whether or not they were going to get a meal that day, or like they were
Yep.
going to survive, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting like how disconnected we are from that. And that's why I really am looking forward to getting into hunting, is being able to like tap back into that. Like it's, we don't need to like know all of that to be successful in like our everyday life, but like I don't want to forget that so much, you know,
Right.
that I'm like so disconnected from it. So being able to like go into that and like understand the wind and understand all that stuff, like I feel like it's healthy for humans to be able to like tap into that every once in a while.
Yeah. It's really cool too, because like you get into that scenario of, you know, you're going in, you see something you want to shoot, and then you're thinking nonstop. And then once you're in the moment, you just stop thinking. I mean, a lot of times where people do make mistakes out there is because they're not thinking of scenarios.
Or they're maybe like thinking too much. Like
No,
they're not
yeah, they're-
like in the moment as much.
No, it couldn't be thinking too much, because if you think too much, like you will get a chance. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're not thinking, dude, like if I just belly crawled 300 yards and I'm not getting anywhere, and I just stand up and start walking right towards them,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the kind of critical thinking that I'm talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't be seen. Like, you have to be a predator. You have to do what predators do.
So describe that feeling of when you get the kill, because I've heard a lot of hunters describe it as like almost like psychedelic in a way, where it's like you feel emotions of sadness but also exhilaration and happiness all at the same time.
Well, yeah.
Because on one side you're like, man, I just killed an animal that never like feels that great. Like not everyone is like, I feel like that's a misconception that people have of hunters, is that you get a lot of joy from just like killing an animal for the sake of it.
Dude, it's because pictures, you can't put pictures to words. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like, you can post and you can explain, and, you know, Cam Haynes and Adam Greentree, they're really good at explaining stuff like that. They're really good at, you know, it's not just showing a kill, it's showing a merciful kill. You know, if you're going to go out there lollygag and you're just going to shoot and pray for the best, you know, and that deer or elk gets away after you just hit it and survives, now that deer's got to sit there and suffer
Yeah.
and you know, try and build that back up. I mean, if you shoot an animal and then if it's still alive, once winter happens, it dies.
Yeah, it's gone.
That's like the most typical thing. And then now you just got to waste the meat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coyotes are going to go get it. Maybe it saves a fawn.
That was the thing that like changed my whole perspective on hunting. Like, cause I grew up from a family of hunters, but like I wasn't as into it as they were. And I like didn't really get it, you know? And I was like, you know, it's a little weird that you want to go kill an animal like that.
Right.
But like, what changed it for me is like this whole like Disney-fication of the whole like animal kingdom. I mean, like what I mean by that is like, you think that like the public thinks that like just because like that you don't kill that animal is going to go live a happy life. It's going to be like with Snow White, it's going to be doing dances in the forest and all this stuff, and it's going to live a long, successful, happy life. It's going to die of old age in a bed of flowers with some berries.
Right. Yep.
It's like that animal getting hit with a gun or a arrow at the right place is going to die a lot better than its throat getting ripped out by a bear or, you know, and so it's not going to like, very few of them are going to like live a very peaceful life, you know, like, cause it's the wild, like it's crazy out there. And so, but that's why I respect people like Cam Hanes or really a lot of the top hunters that like they train to get to a point where they can kill that animal in the most, respectful way, you know, like it's
merciful.
It's like a art to kill this animal in the most like, merciful way, you know?
Yep. So, I mean, like, real quick, I mean, the thing is like, yeah, you are going to have a lot of emotion when you do first shoot something that's big, you know what I mean? Like over 100 pounds and you just shot that, you know, you walk up to it and it's dead. And like, you know, you have like that sense of like, you don't even have a relief. Like I personally like, I feel very bad, you know, and I feel sad for that animal for, you know, possibly it didn't live a fulfilling life or even it does, you know what I mean? But, you know, now it just put meat on my table and, you know, it's like a thank you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of hunters, they'll go up to animals and they're like, after they shoot them, they're like, thank you. You know what I mean? And even Indians back in the day, dude, they would bury their hearts.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know a lot of people that use every single bit of that animal, whether they use the bones as dog toys and like the whole part of the animal they use. And I mean, no, it's definitely like I feel bad, but like at the same time, you know, people are still cheering you on. They're, you know, they're happy for you. And then you have like that. It's so weird. It's so indescribable.
Well, yeah, it's also like, because, yeah, there's a lot of people that like talk down on hunters for doing it, but it's like for killing an animal and, you know, getting meat. But it's like you guys are all still doing it, but you're paying someone else to go kill it at a slaughterhouse in a like worse way, where it's like at least when you kill that animal, it's living most of its life where it should be living its life, and then the last second is when you kill it and it's good to go. Like, but when we're like have all these slaughterhouses where it's like these cows are like just living in a dump for their whole life and then getting killed, you know, it's like, I don't know, I just don't understand that like argument anymore.
So
like,
okay, here's the argument. Okay, why do people get mad about us hunting when they want to build a house, they want to keep growing, and we're interrupting the wilderness, and it's called conservation. Like it's what Teddy Roosevelt,
I think it was,
Teddy Roosevelt started conservation. And what it is like, you know, predators can't keep up with the population of elk and deer. So there's a conservation on it where you get the ability to go shoot them. What's the difference between, there's a huge difference between me going out shooting an animal and these people that are talking shit about us posting a picture of our deer and they hate it when they're going to eventually kill 3 deer in their lifetime hitting it with their car.
Yeah.
And we're actually eating it. They're hitting it and they're leaving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many like things, because like I didn't even know about like, because I also come from a very farming family, you know, and like that's the other thing too is people are like, I don't want to, like, we shouldn't be killing animals, we shouldn't be eating meat, let's grow crops instead. But these fields are ecosystems for other life, and when you destroy that field and plant corn there, you just wiped out more lives than you would if you just took out that one elk. You know what I mean? It's like that, but the thing is that we add more significance to an elk than we do like a grasshopper,
right?
But it's all still life, you know. But that's like, it's just like there's a lot of weird things that people are saying that don't make sense.
Here's a good theory. in California, they ban predator hunting up north. And I might be wrong because I haven't really looked into it so much, but I know that like some areas in California, they don't do predator hunting anymore. And then after 1 year of them doing that, after 1 year of nobody getting a predator tag, all of a sudden there's bears in people's backyards.
Yeah,
there's people literally walking to school and going to the school bus, and then they look up and there's 2 bears just sitting there staring at them.
Yeah.
In California. If we went 1 year without nobody hunting here in Utah, we would be seeing deer walking right now down the street.
Right. So it's like, do you want to still maintain this civilized life? Well, you can't have like one without the other. Like we have to be able
They'll get hit anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll hit a deer once a month if we
and
went
it will
1
waste
year
it.
without
Or it's
hunting.
like there could be there's been so many stories in California of like mountain lions. Like there was a story of a mountain lion attacking a kid in Calabasas.
Really?
And like it's like, do you want if you don't want us to go hunt, then do you want mountain lions in your backyard killing your kids?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but you need to have because that's that's the thing. It's like it's not just killing a mountain lion to kill a mountain lion. It's that conservation of protecting the whole environment here of the ecosystem of the balance of predators to the balance of all things of like how many bears there are to mountain lions to elk to
right.
Yeah. So I'm changing the subject a little bit, but
that's fine.
What is your take being someone that is also born in Utah like Mike?
I wasn't born in Utah.
Oh, well.
I just kind of grew up here. I was born in San Diego.
But lived most of your life in Utah.
Uh-huh. Let me just make that clear.
Oh, he's from San Diego. He's not one of you guys.
Yeah.
What has been your take on like how Utah has grown?
Oh man.
The silence says it all.
Utah is wild. Like the fact that people are willing to be in an HOA and literally companies like own their life.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
fact that you
HOAs
have
suck.
to ask someone to paint your door a different color. Oh, man. But you paid for it.
Yeah.
Why can't you do whatever you want to it? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, dude.
Utah has grown and it's doing nothing but growing. I don't think they know when to stop. Because
Yeah,
I feel like they should take a break off of like really looking at how many like Lehigh, American Fork, Saratoga Springs, like it's just nothing but building. Like
Dude, I feel like we're entrepreneurs and like I respect capitalism. I love it, but there's like a point like because there's like so many developers here that are like just putting up so many complexes because it's like they're incentivized to make money. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so they're putting up these complexes and it gives someone,
And they have the money.
It gives someone a
be
place
able
to
roll.
live, but like I grew up in Pennsylvania and like there's not that many complexes out there. Like everywhere out here, like just look out that window.
Look out the window, yeah.
It's like almost like a borderline dystopian, like a Disney Up film right here. Like with just all the, or you go to
like a
Daybreak
city
and you
almost,
just see everything that just looks exactly the same. And where I grew up, it's like every home is a different character that was built from like that family, changing things how they wanted to change it, and it's like everything is so uniform out here and it feels like eerie to me. Like this is weird that we're all living in these like perfectly shaped boxes that are like the same color. Like,
Honestly, it's like an ultimate metaphor because there's a whole bunch of I don't want to dive into this, but it's kind of very accurate to the valley of everyone looking the same, wearing the same white shirt.
Yeah.
You got the same house back to back. And it's like, of course, what is the goal of the system? I would say to control us. They want us to go. That's where they want us to
to
do.
like remove your individuality, I feel like,
Yeah.
in some way.
Freedom.
I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, we could be going a little bit conspiracy here, but it's like, I feel like that's
Well, yeah, it's as conspiracy
I
as
feel
it
like
is
it's
to
a
look out the
project.
window or as it is to go to church and see every single person look the exact same.
Yeah.
That was just one thing that I never really jived with about church, was the lack of individuality. Because like for me as an adult, one of my favorite parts of being an adult is my ability to be an individual, my freedom to kind of like express myself. Like why the
Freak.
Why the flip does it matter if Kaden wants to wear that hat, or if I want to wear this hat, or if you want to wear that hat? They're all hats at the end of the day, you know? Or like why are we judging like other people? We're all struggling through life. Yeah. Like every single person has struggles. So why are we making that struggle harder for other people by saying, if you're not just like us, if you don't got this same haircut that you get every single week, if you don't do this, then you're the outcast. And it's like, it's honestly extremely disrespectful.
And it all starts
to
with
the other people.
Sunday, whether you go to church or not.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts. And that's where it's freaking tough, dude. Like,
well, yeah, especially here in Utah.
I mean, one time I didn't go to church one week, and all of a sudden I got cookies at my house saying, hey, we missed you at church. What the F? You know what I mean? Like, why do you care?
I would also say, though, on the other side of it, like, that it is cool to have a community of people that are going to support you and love you like that. Because, like, when we lived in Newark, New Jersey, it's like kids don't got parents because they're getting shot. Meanwhile, it's like I got a whole community of people in Utah that know my name, my siblings' names. Like, when my dad was going through his cancer treatment, like, people were bringing dinner over to my parents' house every single night.
Yeah, there's benefits.
So that's difference in a community. But, like, what I'm saying is just with you know, being in the church. You know, when I left the church, I had everyone that I grew up with and still follow in the church change me. Like, they changed their attitude and how they progress with me now. Okay. Now they don't even talk to me as a friend.
That's interesting. Because like if it was pure, I almost feel like they would still be your friend if you weren't in the church. Like,
and there's still a lot of great people that do. There's some though that really that are culturalized in the whole deal. You know what I mean? And I'm not, you know, I'm not here to hate on it because I grew up in it. My family is a part of it. Yeah. So you know, I'm not here to put a bad taste in their mouth, but I mean, you know, wasn't the right thing for me, but it's just crazy to think how once you don't join anymore, how people treat you. Yeah. They used to know you.
For sure.
Who taught you every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's completely like, you know, once you run into them again, you know, they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, and then they act all nice and stuff like that. But it wasn't like back when they would text you on a regular basis, you know, when, you know, it's weird.
Yeah. No, I feel you because we're in very similar situations, you know, that's somewhere where I've had a whole bunch of like, I guess, fluctuation in my approach of how to go about it. Because on one end, it's like, I really want to live an honest and genuine life. And so like when we talk about things, I want to be honest about like where I'm at. And like, I think people need to know that you can leave your church. Yeah. You know, like if you're not happy, that's your right. Once you turn 18, you can leave. Yeah. You know, like you can leave and that's okay. And I want people to know that you can leave and still be happy because the main thing that the church is always saying is that if you leave the church, you're not going to be happy and all these negative things. Yep. And it's like, that's a major gaslight. Yeah. You are being gaslighted so hard. Right. But it's also hard because I love Mormon people. My family's Mormon. Right. But I still, even within my family, not my immediate family, but within my family, there's still people who I know that their opinion of me has changed since I've left the church. Mm-hmm. Right. And that every time we try and get into a conversation, they're always bringing up church topics and trying to push it onto me. And it's like, if you haven't gotten it by this point, my last time going to church was 6 years ago. If you're still trying to push it on me, you clearly don't care about me as an individual, what I have to provide to the world, what I'm into. I can go off and I could talk for hours about random shit that I love, that I'm passionate about. That's why we got this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But then when you talk to me, all you want to talk about is just the church, why I'm not going to church, all these things. Like, do you not know me at all? Do you not care about me at all?
Yeah.
It's like they're not willing to get to know the other 95% of you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just strictly like, where are you at in this 5%? You know, that's like not even a part of your life anymore. They're holding on to that, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Mike, do you agree to this? So you won't deny you felt the Spirit before.
I have, and I would say right now, just to kind of level the playing field in terms of like where I'm at spiritually, is like I do believe in God and feel like I have a relationship with God.
Yes, no, I do as well. I'm a firm God believer. When I first left, I didn't. You know, I was pretty atheist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, like once you leave, you know, you have this whole world of like, what do you want? You know, and then as I got older and realized like being a good human being is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Not cheating, not stealing.
Good
and
values.
you know, even if that happened to you in your lifetime, you can still try to make it better. You know, like I know people who stole from Walmart and they finally got a career and stuff like that. They went back to Walmart and they gave them 12 grand.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I'm so sorry. Like I was a punk when I was a kid. You
I'm
know
going to have
what I
to
mean?
do that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you see my point?
Mike's going to have to take a trip to Savers, the DI.
Savers. DI.
All right, let's just expose my low.
Nordstrom Rack.
Okay, so
That one I got exposed on the internet for.
right.
Me
So,
and Adam.
In the Mormon church, you felt the Spirit before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The Spirit is what they think is warm and fuzzy and stuff like that. Why? I was just thinking about this. Why do we only feel the Spirit when someone talks about something that's happened to them? Something traumatic. And God saved them in a talk. And you felt the Spirit,
Like in
right?
their testimony.
Yeah, but then if someone goes up on their talk and they are some rich dude, they are, you know, they talk about like, oh yeah, I just got back from Hawaii and I
Like
had
everything's
this.
good.
How come I never felt the Spirit with that guy? You see my point?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I think maybe even feeling the Spirit can be your reading on how genuine someone's testimony is. Because it's like,
Right.
when you believe it, when someone's telling you a story that's so impactful and you believe it, that's when you're like, whoa, it could bring you to tears, which is what a lot of people interpret as feeling the Spirit. When you get emotional, you start to cry.
Yeah.
But also, if some phony entrepreneur who's being a fake Mormon so
Yeah.
that he could get the sales out of it, you know, and he's just like flexing about his how great his life is,
Right.
you're not going to feel the Spirit from that.
right, exactly. And I mean, like, I've only have felt the Spirit when it was a traumatic experience for somebody who explains it like when they have their talk.
So you're kind of saying like, why do we only feel the Spirit when it comes to like almost negative things and not the positive stuff?
Yes, exactly. And that's what I hated about it. Like that, you know, I hated the fact that, you know, the church in Utah is based off of literally people who come in and talk about all the terrible things that happened to them, and then people feel sorrowful and they go up and talk to them. They feel bad, you know. It's almost like a victimized mentality.
Do you think that there's
Even like a comparison thing. Where
Yeah.
It's like, let's compare our traumas over the
Yeah.
pulpit.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not hating on it. You know, that's just it
Right,
wasn't for me.
And
I'm
there's
not-
also like the perceived feeling the Spirit and what the actual, you know, feeling the Spirit, if you were to even calling it feeling the Spirit is like a Mormon way of phrasing it, but even just like feeling God or feeling some sort
Yeah.
of like
Positive
having some sort of
emotion.
experience where it made you feel like it was something going on that you didn't understand, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And that can be feeling the Spirit, and I feel like that's just like building your relationship with God over time is over having a bunch of experiences where you're like, yo, I don't know how the fuck my ass is still here. You know, like
Right.
it's little things. Like we had this client, True and I went through like a major struggle period post 2020 with our business because COVID, no one is booking video production.
Oh, I know.
And we also were going through
Yeah.
major drama with our team that resulted in us cutting our team completely off. We fired our whole team on one Zoom call, and went through a period.
Dang.
We went through a period where we had to kind of figure our shit out, and during that period when there was all this struggle, there'd be moments. I mean, throughout our whole journey of starting our company, there's moments where it's like, we need to pay rent tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? And
Yeah.
then someone comes
Dude,
through.
there's been so many times.
But like the one that before I forget, the one that I was gonna go into that I wanted to mention was when we went out to Colorado to shoot for a cryptocurrency documentary.
Wasn't that the podcast? Didn't
It-
you guys do
well, it
a
was
little
a
podcast?
podcast.
That was.
Did we do a podcast?
Yeah,
no,
you guys
no,
were
that
parked
was-
on the side of the
no,
road.
So
and-
that was a
different
different
oh,
time.
you're like,
Yeah.
I saw a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a different time. But this one, it was like, it wasn't like they were paying us a ton, but it was a job. And so True and I are like, let's just go send it. We didn't put into consideration, the time of year, how dangerous it is in the winter driving between Utah and Colorado,
Yeah.
different areas.
Yeah.
And there were multiple moments where it was like we were this close to getting slammed by another car because our car is sliding and we can't do anything because the road is so icy. Or like,
Right.
And then everything from that whole trip, it just was like, we forgot gear that we needed, but we ended up making it
Dude,
work.
you're from Utah. You know exactly what. Are you one of the people that forget as soon as it snows?
Well, we're driving
not
in the
trying to be
Corolla
rude,
too.
It was
but-
a Corolla.
Well, there's chains
Well,
for
so
that.
I'm the type that's like cocky with my
Well, yeah.
snow driving abilities.
Oh, I am too.
because I love to ski and shit.
It was also like it was dry here in Utah, but it was like, and it was dry most of the time. But there was that one part where you get past like Vale, and you go past like
Oh, yeah.
Dillon, I think it's called,
Yeah.
or Silverthorne. You go from
Yeah.
there to Denver, and it's like you're in the canyons, and it's like this. And they were just getting snow in that one part.
That's right when you pop out of Golden.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, there was just like, and we were like screwed that one time. Like we got to a point where it was so snowy, and it was like multiple inches on the ground, and we had to go up this one hill, and like we couldn't. We were just spinning. We had chains, but they weren't. We like put them on and they fell off. Like, but then a guy showed up in like
a truck with
truck.
like a tow rope,
And
and
he was
literally was our savior.
yeah, he was like, "You guys want to tow? Like, here, let me get you out of here." And he literally like pulled us for like miles and
Through
we're
other
like,
cars
Yeah,
that are
like
off on the
we
side
like
of the
are
road.
seeing all these wounded soldiers on the battlefield, like
Nice.
passing by, like in these Priuses and stuff, just in ditches, literally. And we're like,
Yep.
whoa, we're like just going in and
Just
out,
sliding.
like,
That's sick.
like, he was pulling us like crazy, like it was like. Yeah, like a legit savior in that one moment. Like, why did he pick us? Like, there were so many people,
And
Nice.
even just getting through that whole experience and like driving back on our way back, we went up above going through Wyoming. It was like super dry, super open. And it was like we were on this wave. And even looking back at the situation as a whole, it's like, how the fuck is that even real?
Yeah.
Like we were going to film a video with the co-founder of Ethereum and like all this stuff that was like, this doesn't even feel real. And it's just one of those experiences when we got back home and it was like, wow, like it's like, it makes me look at my life differently because I literally felt
Right.
like there were times where we could have died on that trip.
Right. So, okay. When I was 16, my mom and dad gave me a front-wheel drive car. I did one season of it snowing here in Utah. Immediately sold it. Bought a truck.
yeah,
And now I don't even worry about it, dude.
right.
Yeah.
It's so easy because now all I got to do is like, oh, I'm sliding, push the button real quick, and all of a sudden it just puts it all back together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, I'm not going to deal with this for the rest of my life. Because here's the thing, whether you like it or not, dude, it snows.
Right.
In places, the only places is literally Utah down. Whether you're in Oklahoma or up in Pennsylvania, like it freaking snows.
Yeah.
Like why, you know what I mean?
Why
Like
wouldn't you have a nice?
why wouldn't you have like something that's front, all-wheel drive at least, all-wheel drive, and like put new tires on. You save so much headache and like so much relief that you have that. I mean, dude, in my truck, it's rear-wheel drive, so you just put some sand in the back to weigh it down. especially on my little tiny truck that I had. And it still, like, you don't even have to put 4-wheel drive in all the time with it. And even I got stuck multiple times in that truck. Like, there was one time where I was heading up to Brighton, and you know that big, like, circle part?
Oh, yeah. Like the roundabout?
I went all the way around it, and then I slid back and then went right into the mountain. And I was wedged between this rock right under my truck. And I was sitting there like, crap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was on the opposite side of the road and the traffic going this way. So I was like, crap. So now I have to make a U-turn back up and then go up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dude, that was
So
that
wait,
was
you
pretty
used
sketchy.
to work at Brighton?
No.
No, you
No,
just pretty
in high
much
school,
worked there.
I just went there every freaking day.
Oh, let's go.
Honestly, I think I went like half of a year. I didn't even go through one season.
I literally thought that you worked there, but I think it's just because you went so much.
Oh, dude, I went every day, like right after school, heading up to Brighton. But,
How good did you get during that time?
dude, we just had so much fun. Like, we didn't even care if we like broke a femur. Like, you know, we're like, wow, that jump's really big. You know, we would get scared of it, and then we would just hit it, and all of a sudden, like, you know, I was more of like, I would much rather overshoot than undershoot.
Yeah, the
a
undershoot is
slope
where you
because
get hurt.
because I've hit a knuckle before,
Yeah.
and I felt like my freaking the top
That's
of my neck went
initiation.
right into my ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I would much rather overshoot and land and then kind of fall back.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you know, and everyone's like, holy cow, like you just jumped the whole freaking landing.
Especially the bigger the jump is, the more
Right.
that knuckle is going to fuckle you up.
Oh yeah, bad. So I mean, like that was the thing. Like we just agreed on everyone. Like, dude, just send it. Like, just go. And then once I realized I was overshooting, I was like, man, I would love cliffs
Oh,
on
yeah.
powder days. And ever since then, dude, I was like, bye train park. And I would literally just go up on powder days, dude, and just jump off like the biggest cliff I could see. Like, that's all I was about. Even landing on a tree. Oh, well, tree that's, you know, it's like 6 feet, little baby tree, just land right on top of it.
Sometimes
that
that's
before.
how it happens.
But, I mean, no, yeah, like back to the whole snow driving. As soon as it snows, here, people here in Utah, first day snow hits the ground, everyone just like forgot how to drive.
Right.
Pile up on I-15.
Yeah, pile up.
Both ways.
Yeah. And then, like, I didn't even, now that I think about it, I didn't even go a year, like a whole year with that car. Like, yeah, the summer, it was great, you know. Once winter, and I was snowboarding a lot, dude, I freaking sold that car and got a truck like that. And I've had a truck ever since, dude. Like,
I've been with the Rolla for 4 years in Utah. We've been struggling.
you need to get one.
Yeah, hey.
Even if it's all-wheel drive, dude, an
We're
all-wheel
on the
drive
come
car,
up.
dude, it works, man.
I did have a Subaru. That was the car that I
Oh.
had right before I moved to New York. And I had it for like literally 2 or 3 weeks. Then I moved out there and then had to sell it because I wasn't even in Utah.
Yeah, Brighton was a big Subaru culture.
Yeah.
Everyone up to Brighton always had a Subaru.
So what is the most toxic Subaru driver driving? Which type of Subaru is the most toxic individual that's in the driver's seat?
An STI? Are you talking about like
STI?
dude?
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Dude, I'm not here to talk shit on him, but he's one of my buddies. He's one of my good buddies back when he was one of my best friends. Once I graduated, and we went up to Brighton all the time. He's a skier, but he's got a Subaru Forester STI, and I always see him rod knocking the hell out of that car.
What does rod knocking mean?
Where his engine blows up. He's blown up
Whoa.
like
How does that
he's
happen?
just hitting it too hard, dude.
Like not shifting
Just
gears?
hitting the hitting
Like
the
staying in
gas
first
pedal
gear,
too
bro?
hard all the time, dude. And that's the thing, like STIs, they're just like, I feel like those people are a little toxic because they keep just blowing their money in this piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, and I love you, Colby, if you ever see this, but I mean,
We'll make sure you see
Oh,
it.
I'm just
we're
saying.
gonna DM this
I'm
to
just
his
saying, dude.
mom.
You need to sell that car, dude.
I mean, the thing about the Corolla is that gas has been cheap AF, and
not lately.
I don't have to do
But-
any sort of really repairs or anything
Yeah.
like that. Like, it's kind of just like, let me get something that we can just run this into the floor
Yeah.
until the
No,
rims fall
that's
off.
great. That's really smart.
But my
for
next
sure.
move that I want to do right now is I want to sell my Rolla, get a Suburban, like a Chevy Yukon or something like that, that has a trailer hitch on it, and then be able to tow a camper trailer behind it. That would be an ideal setup for me to be able to just like, even like we go on camping trips, I can just
Dude, you'd be
pull
better
that
off. And you know that's awesome. Tahoe and Suburban, that's cool. But dude, get a 1500 gas or truck
Yeah, I've seen some cool truck setups.
because they already come with the tow package and everything.
Mm-hmm.
With a Suburban, you have a lot more to be more liable for. Like if you turn too hard, dude, and all of a sudden your back windshield goes out because your trailer hit it, your camper did, or I mean, like a truck would be the way to go. You know, I've thought about.
I have been looking at some trucks too, because
Well-
even being in Utah, having a truck for so many things is
Yeah,
just
dude.
like crucial.
You're gonna throw wood
Yeah.
in the back of your truck and make a freaking mess. You know what I mean? Especially if you get a nice one, dude. I just throw everything in the bed.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even have to worry about it. You
So
know?
what's the worst truck that there is? What's like an unpopular opinion about the worst truck?
Let's get
Because
some hot
when I
takes
be looking at cars on KSL, I be seeing a lot of like pretty new looking Ford F-150s. They're like surprisingly cheap. I'm like, there's got to be something wrong with this that I don't know about.
Okay, F-150s are the top selling pickup truck in America.
So so
And-
there's probably just the most number of those.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. My brother, he has an issue with his truck about it ticking.
Like
When he turns
making
it
a
on,
tick sound.
yeah, it like and it annoys the
Constantly?
shit out of him. Yeah, constantly. And it's because I don't know. I'm not a big Ford guy. I'm Chevy all the way. I mean,
Duramax.
I practice what I preach when it comes to truck logos and trucks, like in branding wise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it depends on what truck you want, but I mean, whether you want a diesel or whether you want a gas. I mean, now if you want something new, it doesn't even matter because they all have problems. Just pick your poison. You know what I mean?
And it's gonna have problems off the bat. You just gotta accept that.
Like Dodges, the new Dodges though, I will say this: the new Dodges are
should dodge 'em.
turds, straight up turds. They can't tow worth anything. The company I work for, they just bought a bunch of Dodges, Cummins, and they bought the low output ones. They say, but dude, you go up a hill towing a trailer, and you can't go past 65. It's terrible. I mean, the new Fords are freaking elite. The new Chevys are elite. But Dodge, they did a terrible job for the new ones. And really, like what I said, it doesn't matter. It's just the poison you pick, dude. You buy a Dodge. If you want to buy a Dodge, you're 50,000 miles until your transmission goes out, no matter what. You buy a Ford, you know, they're elite. They have got the solid axles and stuff like that. In every single one of their trucks, they have, you know, you don't have to do any front end issues, but there's head studs that you got to worry about because power stroke means that they have a low stroke in the engine. Their piston goes up slow. Duramaxes have a high pressure PSI in their engine, so usually their fuel injectors go out in their diesels, but they have a super strong transmission. They have really bad front end work, but the thing is people are so used to just going to the shop and getting it fixed. But the people at the shop, the ones that are fixing your truck, they're looking for ways to destroy your truck so you can go in and get more work, so that it's job security for them. So I mean, like a lot of places, dude, they don't even go and grease them up. Every single Chevy, they're an independent suspension, so they ride amazing, but their front end is shitty. But you got to put in the work, dude. Like after you do oil change, go down there with a grease gun, dude, and just grease up
Wait,
your ball
you're
joints
talking
real
about
quick.
like trucks, like it's like programming, like with front end and back end. What do you mean when you say
Front
the
end
front
is like
of
the,
the truck?
okay, sorry. So the
Like you mean
tires-
like the literal front end?
yeah, the front of the tires, like the suspension.
Okay.
So like your ball joints, your idler arms, your CV axles that go into your
You're
tire.
talking gibberish right now to us.
Just not including the engine.
Yeah, just not. Yeah,
Is the front end?
yeah. The front end is where the tires are mounted onto the truck
Gotcha.
on the front.
And what programming language do you use?
So
to
there's
do
4
tweaks?
wheels on this truck.
The front two next to the engine.
So the truck has wheels on it.
Yes. Yes.
And it goes and it stops, right?
Yes. There's
Okay.
this thing called a gas pedal. And then you got D for daytime.
Got it.
Okay, you got N for nighttime,
Nice.
and then you got.
I thought N was for Netflix.
You know what? You might be right. Maybe for the new ones since
Like
they
the
have a
ones with the
computer.
screens.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
like Tesla. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. You put an N.
Netflix time.
What's your take? What's your take on Tesla?
Dude, Elon Musk is doing great things. Like
Oh, he was. I
Dude.
think he's gonna be on the Full Send podcast.
Really?
By the time this comes out, that'll probably already drop.
Elon Musk isn't trying to get rid of people that are driving fossil fuel vehicles. He's just trying to figure out a better way.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with energy independent vehicles. I'm never gonna get one until the government wants to shut down all the gas. I mean, that's what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people to buy them. But I just watched a video of Elon Musk, dude. They finally launched their semis.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And the dude's so freaking smart that he generated in the rotors where the brakes, when you slam on your brakes, they go on that little disc and they clamp on. And that's how your brake works. In those semis, he put a generator on the rotor that makes kinetic friction with the brakes, and it charges the battery as you brake.
Yo, savage.
I watched the whole video on his new semi, and I was watching it, and I was like, what a fucking man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
I love that he has such a innovative outlook on like engineering and making products and things like that. It reminds me of like how Steve Jobs approached things. Like he has that like kind of like childlike imagination of like, well, like wouldn't it be cool if at the same time that you would hit the brakes that it's actually putting energy back into your vehicle? But he's like people think about that, but he's like weird enough to actually go and make it happen. And that's what makes him cool.
He's creating solutions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the less time of you at a charging station is what he's trying to figure out, dude. He's trying to think of for the better, He's not like one of those guys that...
It's like not just a cool feature. It's like something that actually benefits, like, like it has an effect beyond just being like a cool thing. Like it actually helps you not spend more time charging. You can be
Well,
on
he
the
even
road.
was saying that like part of his mission, or I don't want to misquote, but it could be he said like his main reason for starting Tesla was to get less deaths on the road, like with self-driving cars, because driving on roads is like, I don't know any of these stats off the top of my head, but so many people die every year.
You're 100% right, because whether you like it or not, welcome to the world. People are going to drive drunk. People are going to drive on their phone, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether you are a road rager or not, people are going to do it, dude. So why would you let it sit there and piss you off? But that's not the point I'm trying to get at here, is that, self-driving, the cars make you put your seatbelt on. If not, it's going to sit there and beep until you do. Mm-hmm. And it's going to censor. Like, they're making it. It's all these added safety features. And I get it. It's annoying for people that actually drive really well. And that's fine. But, like, he's making a car to literally drive in between the lines so you don't hit anyone else and kill someone. Like, it's... People look at it as a safety feature, but really it's to save your own freaking life and save other people's lives.
Yeah.
It's about saving lives. It's about being a good human being, and that's exactly what he is. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that all of this, like all the stuff that he does is like to impact like humanity in a positive way.
Did you see his theory about Antarctica?
No.
I thought it was really
hear it.
cool. His theory with Antarctica, dude, he was gonna go out and launch a rocket that literally shades all of Antarctica. So Antarctica wouldn't get really good sunlight. And it was more see-through, but it was just a big old canopy where he launched it as far away as he needed to and calculate how far and how big Antarctica is, shade it, and then use it as a solar panel.
Wow.
Now that's throwing
I thought the
shade.
direction that it was gonna go is that it would shade Antarctica so that it wouldn't melt as fast.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
So it wouldn't melt, but at the same time,
be a solar panel.
be
for
a
the whole
solar
world.
panel for the whole world. But I'm
Yeah.
sitting there thinking, like, how do you bring that electricity down? Like, you'd have to run a big freaking cord all the way down or something. You know what I mean? Like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, if you can figure out a way to bring that energy that you get from the sun blocking all of Antarctica, so you're getting double whammy right there.
Imagine like a
But-
giant tower in the middle, like a mushroom, and then over the top it expands out really, really wide, and it just goes up really, really high in Antarctica, just like a giant freaking. It could be like a skyscraper or just like a thin
Right.
whatever.
But
to make it
here's the
strong
thing you
enough.
got to think about, though. It's ice. Well, if you put a tower that big on ice, it's going to just break through and go down into the ocean.
Unless
Like
you could just
eventually,
But-
stick it in.
But
real
this
low.
was Elon Musk's theory, is that he could go far away to the point where it could shade all of Antarctica. Instead of making a big tower and literally making half of the world, you have to make it so big enough to shade Antarctica. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get this close to the sun, the shade behind it creates a bigger realm. Does that make sense?
Well, like.
You know how you get a flashlight and you shine your hand on it and then you move it closer, the shadow gets bigger. Because the closer you are to cover it
Yeah.
versus, you're clear down here and you're trying to cover this whole thing, you got to make it
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
So the farther out the umbrella is.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
further
More
out the
got it
umbrella
lost.
is, the
Got it.
more shade you're going to get. So that was his theory, is that he was going to calculate exactly how far the satellite was going to be from the sun, so that way when he opens it up, it completely shades Antarctica.
That is savage.
This man's a genius.
Dude, I'm like, I was sitting there watching. I'm like, what a freaking guy, dude. And then
Yeah.
after that, I watched his Tesla semi truck, dude,
Uh-huh.
and just was, dude, that truck has 4 motors, and it runs perfectly fine on 2. And all you have to do is, if one motor blows up, then you got 2 other motors to keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, dude, you made 2 motors in a semi, and it's electric, so you don't need all the components that are heavy in a vehicle.
Yeah.
Dude's
I
a
mean,
genius.
even with like SpaceX and the rockets that can like come back and land on themselves, like that's just so savage, because it was only 30, 40 years ago that it's like, we don't know if as soon as we take off this rocket, it's just going to explode and everyone's going to die on board. And like, that's the problem that he chose to tackle. That's like extremely risky of a business to get into,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the moves that he made have been like exponential in terms of like our progression as humanity, with like the things that we'll be able to accomplish
Yeah.
by reusing
Right.
rockets.
I heard this way of explaining it, of like how you can make the most money in your business is like you have to solve like the more difficult problems that you solve, the more money you're going to be able to get for doing that.
Right.
So if you start a cleaning business, like you're solving a problem, but you just starting a cleaning business is different than trying to put people on Mars or to like shade in Antarctica. Like those are 2 different
Right.
problems. And so he's like, that's why he's worth what he's worth, is because he's tackling those huge problems that impact the world. Like it's not like you're just the best cleaning company in AF. Like you're never going to be worth billions of dollars, you know?
Right.
Call it Clean AF. Cleaning company in AF.
Queen A.
But
I love that.
like
I love that.
it's just really like, I admire that he is going after those huge problems, because they're the hardest ones to solve, you know.
Right.
Like it's a lot easier to go for those small ones, you know.
So aside from our boy Elon Musk, what are like some people that you look up to in the world of 2022? Like it doesn't have to be restricted to any type of person, but
The
just
few
like
role models that are left.
So, obviously, the few role models I have is my dad. My dad's been my role model my whole life on how to be a good human being, right? There's different role models for different scenarios that you can look up to. You know, like my dad treats my mom amazing. And family, he treats family amazing. Like he's just an override good human being. So, you know, when it comes to relationships, you know, I strive to be like my dad. And, you know, he's always has a good attitude. I've never seen him pissed off besides the time when I hit someone with someone else's car. That was the only time I've ever seen him freaking get pissed. But that's the thing is I pissed someone off, you know, and he's getting the sharp end of the
secondhand
stick
heat.
of it, yeah.
yeah.
Because I was just a kid being stupid, so I understand. But, you know, when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, I look up to him the most with being a good human being. Sean Wallen's an incredible dude. I mean,
Morgan Wallen's uncle.
yeah, pretty much. No, he's a freaking good human being. Like, him and his wife, they have a podcast. It's great. It's called The Sean and Sack Show. They literally talk about everything in a relationship and, like, what exactly you want. Like, it's exactly what a few people, like, they're literally saving the 50% of marriages falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
That's is that part of like the mission of the podcast?
Yeah, I would say that they literally change on like how your happiness is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like people grow out of the happiness that they want and then they just kind of deal with it. You know what I mean? But no, Sean Wallen, and he's just a badass dude. Like, he knows what he wants. He's not scared to hide any of it. And I'm thinking about joining the Lion's Den. Mm-hmm. That's like the thing that he broadcasts is
His like community.
It's like a private community.
yeah, it's a little community, dude. You literally go
cool.
look it up. They have a video. There's this guy, dude. He didn't have a relationship with his like with his 2 kids. He got a divorce, had 2 kids, and just like didn't talk to them for like 15 years. And he like joined the Lion's Den. He went in and did the live thing. And it was up in Draper. Like, it's up here in Draper. He lives here.
So they do like physical in-person events.
Yeah. And the dude like went like rose his hand, was like, "Hey, dude, like how do I change this?" And Sean got pissed. Sean was like, "Those are your fucking kids. Like, what is the matter with you? You need to walk out right now and call your kids.
Yeah.
You need to start your relationship with them right now." And like they had the whole video of him doing it, and it changed the dude forever.
I think that because I'm familiar with Sean as well, and I think that what he does really well, like what he brings to like the online space, is that he kind of goes the opposite way that a lot of people go. In like, there's a lot of like people, influencers, or like people that are just trying to like they mean well, they're trying to help you, but they're really like soft in how they do it. Like they're really like, Mike, it's okay that you do this.
Around the bush.
Yeah, they're like
treading lightly.
They're like letting you get off the hook. Like, I'm all for like being kind, but like there's a point where you're allowing them to sit in their victim mentality, and like they're you know, like, so I love what Sean does. He kind of goes the opposite way. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he just gets really real with them. And like I feel like that like approach to solving problems is like kind of fading out of our culture these days, like, because everyone's like, I'm offended, you know, why did you do it, why are you saying it like that, like I need a safe space for this, and like I get it, you know, but like that's not how I was raised. So I don't value, like, in order for me to make a change in my life, I need someone to come in and be like, yo, you're messing up right now. Like, when people are enabling me to just sit there, like, I'll sit there. Like, you know. But if someone comes in, they're like, yo, you're messing up all these people back here. What are you doing? Like, get back on the horse. Like,
Right, yeah.
that's what I need. And so I respect when people do that. And like, it's really like, I respect that Sean does that, because it's really hard for people to be that figure, like, in culture right now, because like, people will hate on you. Like, people will go after someone like Sean and try to cancel him or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Because his approach is different.
Well, yeah, that was a lot of things in the Lions Den, dude. They were interviewing people who joined it, and it changed their lives forever. Like, there was a guy who quit the next day after he went one day at the Lions Den, and quit and started his own business. Now he's making shit ton of money, dude, and he lives in Idaho, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he has a business out there. And I mean, like, one thing that he mentions that really changed my perspective of relationship is men are the CEO of the relationship, and your wife or your significant other is a COO of your relationship. Two very important roles that keep the thing going. You know, it's called getting your house in order. And even what Sean does, dude, Sean takes his daughters out on date nights every week. He makes time to have the relationship out with his family, and then he also has a guys' night with all of his boys every single week, and then makes time for his wife and makes time for everything. Like, the man keeps himself busy. There's never a time you see him, if he's not doing business shit, he's out having fun, dude. He's smoking cigars like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's just immaculate.
Yeah.
I strive to be just like him. And last but not least, Andy Frisella.
Oh yeah, that's my boy.
Dude is a straight up savage.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit who you are. And that's the thing, like, in his podcast, he's like, I hope to mentor people. Like, I hope to, and this is more of like business and just attitude.
Yeah.
Andy has the
Leadership.
attitude. Andy has the attitude that I strive to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's a good attitude and it's also a bad attitude, but not in a terrible way. Bad attitude. You know what I mean?
It's like bad enough to be real, where it's like,
Right. Like, you can be real and be pissed off.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing is, like, that I was trying to explain, is like, we live in such a culture right now where everyone wants to feel happy all the time, and they'll like, they won't want to embrace feeling like shit for even 5 seconds,
Right.
before they're like, oh no, I can't do that. Like doing your accounting for your business is like a really shitty thing to do. Like, it's not fun. So most people just won't do it because they don't want to experience that 5 minutes of calling up their accountant or whatever to feel a little bit uncomfortable, you know? But it's like, so we just live in this culture where everyone wants to feel comfortable and like safe and not have their emotions be rocked too much. But that doesn't, like, getting to where you want to go in life, you have to go through those uncomfortable feelings, or else you're not growing. You know what I mean?
It's called life.
Yeah. Like, yeah. So like those guys like Sean and Andy, I feel like they're still one of those like old dogs in the game that understand that aspect.
Right.
Where there's so many new people that are like these young drop shippers and shit on Instagram and TikTok. I'm like, I don't get you. Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's like, I feel like Andy is more of like my kind of guy. Like, I don't really care about all these drop shipping dudes, you know, even though, well, I know they're not making more money than Andy, but like,
And it's
even if they
also about
were,
why, like, having people you look up for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know, like, you might look up to a drop shipper just for their drop shipping skills alone.
yeah.
And then, like, it's like maybe like 5% of your influence is
Oh,
like be
yeah.
a Heza. And then 95.
Yeah, I think that like my reason for liking Andy is that he's got most of those boxes checked off for me, like where he's like most of that complete package. Because there are people like I can respect someone like even someone like Andrew Tate. I'm like, I respect his confidence, even though it may be arrogance at times. Like, you can look at other people and hate 90% of it, but that 10% you can take from and benefit from. But for Andy, I'm like, he's got most of what I'm looking for, and so I'm gonna keep consuming his content.
Dude,
you know?
and Andy had me crying at one point, cause like I've I travel for work, so I spend a lot of time behind the wheel, dude, and so
Just thinking.
Music is stupid now for me. Like I can only go 4 hours of straight music until I have another 4 hours to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've done Netflix on the road. That is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Putting
But
it
it
into
keeps
the
you
end gear.
awake. It definitely keeps you awake. But when you get tired, I'll definitely throw on some Netflix and just like kind of glance at it and just it keeps my eyes moving. You know what I mean? But I really got into podcasts. And
Yeah.
I watched on TikTok one of the videos of Andy Frisella, dude, just getting pissed. Just like sweat and veins popping out of his face and just talking major amounts of shit on men.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to look at this guy. And I started listening to him and he literally had me crying. He's like, dude, you're a freaking pussy. You are not being a man. And I was like, I'm not, like, wow. Like I'm definitely.
Yeah. No one called me out like that before.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm like, he's not even calling me out.
Yeah.
He's just freaking calling out all men. He's like, this is for everyone, including myself. And I mean, that's even with Sean too, dude. They both get really heavy and they're just building men back up, dude, because they're all talking about like women are the people that are saving this country right now. Like it's women. Men aren't stepping up.
Yeah.
And it's true, dude. As much as I hate to admit that for men, but really, like we're freaking falling short. Like we need to freaking man up.
Right. I know. I 100% agree.
We need to. Why are women trying to take care of this? And it's not about.
I mean, I
I'm
would
not
also
being-
just say women are just
Right.
leveling up, bro. And I
Oh, yeah,
love
it's
to see
awesome.
this movement because, like, it was only, even currently today, we deal with women being, treated poorly for being a woman, and
Yeah.
it's like a lot of women now are, like, not having kids or having a career path or, like, learning about different
and
things.
it's their fault. Yeah. I'm not saying that it is their fault, but that's what society is that it's their fault for that reason. Why they can't have kids, why they're not. And that's why they're stepping up. They're not freaking scared.
Yeah.
Like men. And that's exactly what Andy put in my brain, dude. And I was like, I started crying. I was like, wow. Like, thank you. I needed to hear
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel what you were saying about music versus podcasts because even like it's like there's a time and a place for different things. Music is really great for like short car rides.
Oh, yeah.
Or for like get-togethers with friends or even like actively listening to an album that you like or whatever. But also podcasts are so amazing for other things like road trips, spending a lot of time in the car. Like that was the same thing for me when I was doing hella Instacart was I'm like, damn, I'm listening to 4 Joe Rogies a day.
Right, no, so that was the thing is like when I would like drive far, my furthest drive was Seattle. And so from Utah to Seattle. So I would literally, if I'm not doing it, if I'm listening to music, I'm thinking constantly.
Yeah.
And my fiance hates it because I come up with all these ideas and then I change everything that I want. Like I think so much to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job and do this. Or I already have a backup plan for this and that, And, she's like, okay, freaking pick then. What do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you think so freaking much. I'm like, babe, let's move to Sheridan or let's go here. Let's just stay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so many things go into my brain and it gets annoying for
I relate
myself.
with that.
Yeah.
And even with her, you guys know how Kylie is. She's pick what you want then. Like, quit talking about it, be about it.
She's
Yeah.
direct.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very direct and she's very high strung, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Like when I got COVID, it's embarrassing to say that I had COVID like last month. Okay. My mom recently had a sister who passed away from COVID. And so, there's still a lot of emotion from that, right? So I had COVID, and it was during the Strawberry Days parade. And we wanted to go. My mom wouldn't let me go if I didn't put a mask on. I'm literally walking out to the parade. Everyone's out there, and I'm the only dude with a mask.
Yeah.
I am the only guy. Like, I am the one liberal out there.
Yeah.
I was seriously so mad. And Kylie was pissed off too. Like, she was like, this is stupid. Like, I get it. Like, I totally understand why, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but what's the difference between, because my mom's like, oh, you can take it off now, and we're walking back to the car. I'm like, what's the
Right.
difference between sitting down watching the parade than getting up and walking and being able to take it off? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just funny.
So was that your first time having COVID, or did you also get it?
No, I got COVID with you guys.
Oh yeah, our whole house got COVID.
Yeah, we all had
Yeah,
COVID.
that was a
we
good
were
time.
we were doing COVID Disney or whatever no, not COVID Disney. We had the simulator, and we all had our phones.
Yeah, it was the game.
What was it?
It was a
It was at your house.
pool.
No. It was we did that, but it was like that game that
Crazy 8.
yeah.
Oh, Uno.
And then
Was
yeah,
it Uno?
yeah, it was
No.
crazy. It
Or
was the
Crazy
Crazy 8.
Eight, yeah,
But
Crazy
it was the simulator with
It
the
went on the
TV.
screen and we all like joined with our phones and
Oh,
like
Jackbox.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that.
Jackbox.
Oh yeah.
Dude, we had some fun, man. We had just straight 2 weeks because that's what they wanted. It was fresh. And we literally just spent. I mean, I went to work. I gave everyone on my crew COVID.
savage.
But I mean, we would come home. We would just isolate. Dude, that was fun.
Dude, it was a good time. Like
It was such a
I always-
relaxing.
well, just like that whole environment of all of us living together. For people that don't know, it was me, my girlfriend Michaela, Mike, his girlfriend Ashley, Kaden, and his girlfriend Kylie. All of us living at Ashley's house. 6 of us.
3 bed, 1
3
bath.
bed, 1 story, 1 bath, and it was like
It's like
I
what?
loved it. Like
Yeah, it's like
it was
11
one of my favorite living situations.
1,100
that we
square
had.
feet.
Oh, I love it at that.
Dude,
house,
it was
too.
awesome. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And I was always telling Michaela during that time, I was like, enjoy this because like we're all gonna be gone after a year. Like, and this
Right.
whole experience, like, is never gonna happen again. Like, when are we're never gonna all move back
Right.
into the same house. Like,
We all had a party, and then I would like wake up in the morning, and Truman and Mike are out there with their new
Oculus.
their Oculus, their virtual reality games. They're sitting there doing this, and I'm sitting there hungover. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so fun. Or like at parties, dude, someone's using the bathroom, and
You just go outside.
we would go
I
outside,
love
dude.
that.
And then
I
we
know.
had Millie freaking howling.
Yeah.
Howling at the parties.
Yeah.
We still got to deal with her. And now I turned your room into the studio.
Hey,
Your room is the plant room.
let's go.
Where me and Millie will chill in the afternoon and hang out sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy how I have some vlogs from that era that haven't gone out yet. That I have footage from. Like I have a really good Christmas vlog. That was when we
yeah.
went and got the Christmas tree.
You gotta
and then
put that out.
hanging out. And I was gonna
Right.
put it out last Christmas, but then I didn't finish it in time. And I was like, I can't drop this after Christmas. So now I gotta wait a whole nother year. But December's already almost here.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but
2022 has been the fastest year of my life. 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like every most
I
recent
agree with
year
that.
is the fastest year that we perceive.
Well, I also think like post, like, COVID.
Right.
Maybe
We
would
had
be
one whole
impacting-
year of just stupid shit, and it went
Yeah.
by slow.
Well, I think of like the 2 years before COVID and then 2 years after COVID. And it's like the 2 years before COVID felt like kind of a long period.
very
Yeah.
long period.
It was almost like a fever dream to an extent where it was like felt like an era that was just going to last forever.
And that was
It just
super
like
nice,
where we
though.
were and what was going.
Well, that was nice that it felt forever because we were all at Ashley's. We were all at your place.
Well, even before that, like
Right.
because we got into Ashley's place after 2020. So that's post COVID.
Like, more so, you're talking about the time when we
2018 to
moved,
2020.
like when we first moved back to Utah.
Yeah.
Up until the pandemic.
I mean, you guys came into the equation. Like, when did we first? What was the first interaction that we had?
I feel like you came in at such an interesting time because
Okay.
like me and Mike were on our journey for so long, and then you come in right when we're at our like absolute worst, where I'm bumming off Carly, Corey.
I'm very thankful for that, really though, because we definitely made a really good friendship.
yeah,
And-
for sure.
I mean, so like how it all started out is pretty much how I met Kylie. You know, it's so crazy how everything's such a small world, and like how the choices you make lead you to other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, I wanted to make better choices, and you know, led me to here, where I'm at right now, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Well,
You
and
know?
the people that you meet lead you to different places that you like
Exactly.
can never expect. Because like when we first met, I had no idea that we would live together for a period.
Right.
Or, you know,
See,
anything
like all the
that.
choices you make, you know, like Ashley made a choice to buy a house, and she also made the choice to let everyone move in. We had the funnest time of our lives, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had a lot of fun.
For sure.
You know, I took everything with a grain of sugar, not salt. Grain of sugar.
Facts.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird because now I'm at that house and I'm pretty much alone there all day. Because Ashley works until 5 or 6, and then it's just me and Millie. And it's nice, you know, like we sleep with the door open and shit like that.
Right.
But also it's just like I always like being around other people. Like I grew up with a big family. You know, always having a brother on the bunk below me.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and so I love that like Brockhampton vibe.
Homie
But also
vibes.
I've learned to love my time on my own because that's when I make my music.
Right.
I make my music when I'm alone 95% of the time.
Right.
So,
But it's interesting because you were like friends with Ashley's sisters
Yeah.
before we all like
Yep.
yeah,
met.
Yep.
You know, so
Yep.
it's like you were
like we have quite a few mutual
you were
friends.
like right there
just from
you know?
growing up
Right.
semi close to
Well,
each other.
Ashley was actually someone I was trying to avoid when I was friends with Taylor and Taylor.
Because she was like the responsible one.
Yeah. We would go hang out, smoke some dope.
Literally, like I mean, it used
we
to.
would try to avoid. Actually, okay, I got a vaping ticket one time. Okay, so
Really?
yeah, this was me and my ex-girlfriend forever ago, and then we had Taylor and Taylor. She was best friends with Taylor and Taylor,
Uh-huh.
and we were in a church parking lot. We were hotboxing
always
my
the
car.
church parking lot.
Yep. Well, that's because it's Utah government. Utah government's ran by the church, so
They're lurking
everything
in
is
the
such a
church
big
parking
deal
lot.
with you when you're within 500 feet of a church.
Yeah.
So we were in the church parking lot, vaping it up, hotboxing, and a cop, and I was drifting.
Hotboxing
I
with
was-
a Jewel.
Yeah, I was doing some drifts in the church parking lot, and 2 cops just came right in,
Spawned.
dude. Grabbed my tires and were
Spawned
filling
immediately.
them. Like, these are really hot. And he's like, step out of the car, you know. And I had Taylor, and Tina. We were all in the car. And then Taylor called Ashley. And Ashley came and picked them up. And they were in my car. And now, like, looking back at it, you know, 5 years later, you know, I was like, hey, Ashley, do you remember that time where you had to pick up Taylor and Taylor in this church? Yeah, that was my car.
Was it the church that was right next to their parents' house?
No, it was a church right next to my house.
Oh.
The one down by Creekside Park. Yeah.
Wow. That
See,
is-
it's just so crazy how that is. And then I went like 3 years without ever seeing them and hanging out. And then, you know, I go to this party and Kylie's out on the pong table just talking massive shit.
Sounds
dude,
like her.
to everyone. And I'm like, who is
Talking
this
a big
chick?
game.
You know what I mean? I was like, wow. You know, I've never seen a girl just, you know, typical women. You know, they're all quiet. You know, especially now. You know, and younger women too. This girl, she was high strung. She knew what she was here for, and she's just talking shit on the pong table. And she was with Taylor. They were both on the pong table, just running it, winning it. And then me and my boy, we go up there and we start playing pong, and she's talking shit to me, and I'm talking right back at her, dude. It was awesome.
You're like equality, bitch.
And she actually went with my ex-girlfriend to the party.
Oh.
And so she goes up to him. She's like, man, that boy's really cute. She's like, that's my ex. And she's like, I don't give a shit, you know. Yeah. She just went over, dude, and we just started talking massive shit. And then after that, she got my Snapchat, and you know, we talked, and you know, I didn't really know what I wanted at that point, you know. Like, I was having crazy amounts of fun with her, you know. I liked her.
Were you 18, 19?
19.
19?
And she was 22 or 21. 22. And then I go into Swig, dude, and she's working with my cousin.
Carson.
Oh, yeah, Carson.
And I'm talking to Carson. She goes, what are you doing here? You know, she walked past, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he says, how do you guys know each other? He's like, he's my cousin. And she goes, he's your cousin? Like, just pissed. Like, at first, like,
pissed?
Really? Yeah, she acted like she was
How
pretty
dare
pissed.
you?
I mean, you know Kylie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seemed like she was pissed, you know. And then after that, she's like, why'd you block me on Snap? And she was just calling me out on my bullshit.
Right at the drive-thru.
Yeah. Didn't even have my drink. I
Tabbed.
thought she was spitting in my cup, dude.
Oh.
And then after that, like, one time I went back into Swig, because then she really sparked my interest. And then we would go in, and she was in that little booth there at Swig.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Ashley, but I snuck into that booth, and we hung out for like 4 hours while she's taking people's orders in the drive-thru.
You're just under the table?
Yeah, I was literally just sitting down in the chair next to the fan while she's just talking to getting people's drink orders.
That's so funny.
That's a vibe.
Yeah.
That's a vibe.
And then we just kind of hit it off ever since, dude. We didn't kiss. I never slept in her bed. She finally let me sleep in her bed one time, but
you guys
I
were
always
like,
slept on the floor at Belmont.
You were like kind of navigating it in a different way than past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
you're kind of like approaching this a little bit differently.
We became best friends for like 3 weeks, and then we started dating. And then, like, I finally was able to kiss her.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that should go right there on how crazy I was for her, dude. I went every day. Like, I was literally like lying to my parents. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go stay over at Jordan's. We're gonna go work out.
Mm-hmm.
No, I went over to Belmont.
Oh, I remember that. Because I remember, like, them talking about
Yeah,
that.
dude, I remember walking in. You had your beard and you had the little comb over with your hair with the Salt Lake City Carhartt beanie, and you're like, yo. You're sitting there on your computer.
What's up?
2020 true?
Yeah, dude. 2020 true.
And I'm like, how are his parents still thinking that he's hanging out at Jordan's every day?
I was pretty convincing. Me and Jordan were still good buddies at the time, and so Jordan would go along with it, you know. I didn't even tell him that I was using him as an excuse to, you know,
right.
go over to Kylie's, but my mom was like, so what have you guys been working out on? And, you know, Jordan's like, what? You know? He was a dog.
So he doesn't know what's going on.
He doesn't know what's going on, but he went with it.
What a
Like,
homie.
we've been doing squats,
Yeah.
a little bit of deadlifts.
Yeah, he's like, so Kaden told me you guys been going to the gym. He's like, oh yeah, every single day. Like,
Let's go.
yeah,
That's a homie.
morning and night, you know, and like that just like totally made my mom believe everything.
Yeah.
I was like,
Vouching for you.
Have you ever been
thank you, bro.
Have you ever been busted by your parents?
Multiple times, but I mean, like, it depends on what you mean by busted. Like with Kylie.
So I don't mean like a busted nut. I mean like
Well, yeah.
got in trouble.
Oh, a few times.
Any good stories?
Yeah, like that Mustang one. Well, the cars. I went over and did a project in junior high. It was a world project or whatever, but you were a vacation planner. And you planned out if someone like, you know, you were like a resort.
Oh, I see.
So you figure out the plane ticket, what you guys were going to do, and you had to make it out on a piece of paper and give it a folder. And it's one of those things that, like, you know, if you're walking in and there's a bunch of flyers about visit Lava Hot Springs, and you bring it out and you open it up. It's like one of those. And we had to do a video too. We had to make a video. I was like, how in the hell could kids in 9th grade make a video of like this? You know what I mean? Like a slideshow. Like, that's freaking tough.
Yeah, that is pretty
So,
detailed for.
I went over to
ninth
this I went over to this girl's house. She was really smart, and we were doing that. Her dad was a cop for Orem, and he had this baby blue 5.0 Mustang.
What
And
year
I was like,
it like a new one?
It
or
was like a
old?
2012. It was the newest one
Okay.
of that
At the
year.
time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was pretty new. And she gave me the keys, and I wanted to turn it on, and I went in reverse just to fuck with her a little bit. And I had the door open, and I'm sitting there going back, and I hit the door right into the bumper of his cop car.
No,
And
the
it-
Mustang door into the cop
it
car.
mushroomed the Mustang, like the door, so when you'd shut it, it wouldn't
man.
shut. So I just left.
As you should.
Classic.
Yeah, I got on my longboard and I went home.
Let her deal with the consequences.
I got in a lot of trouble for that. They wanted to take me to court, and then after that, I was like, "Can we work something out?" You know, and then I just gave them some money
Yeah.
to fix the door. But then after that, they said that they ended up selling it because they went into a car wash after they fixed it, and it just completely like got water all up in it. It didn't like seal itself.
Well, that's whoever fixed it's fault, not your fault.
Well, yeah, I mean they just eventually sold it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gotten in trouble quite a few times smoking weed. The very typical vaping. A lot of vaping.
Popcorn lung.
Popcorn lung. Yeah.
Do you believe in popcorn lung?
I feel like it's too early. I feel like it's too early to have a solution.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they're still doing studies on smoking,
Right.
just normal
yeah,
cigarettes.
like the vaping thing is so new still,
Yeah.
that we don't really know how it's going to impact us 30 years from now.
I mean, the only thing that they can think about is, there's lead in vapes, but there's also lead in everything. Like, people don't realize that, like, you literally, people that live in Tooele and Grantsville, they're 15 minutes away from a copper mine that I've seen them do and burn some shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're sitting there huffing that.
yeah.
There's nothing, like
It's hard to find like the validity in statistics and research and stuff.
everything
Like,
can kill you.
for sure. There's risk involved with everything. I saw this TikTok video of a guy, and he was like, so I'm probably gonna like mess up all these numbers, but it was like, so there's 7.2 billion people on the planet. 1.8 billion of them are Chinese or whatever. So that means that you statistically have a 1 in 5 chance in having a Chinese baby. Statistically, like if we're looking literally at the numbers, statistically you have 1 in 5 chance of having a Chinese baby. But of course, it would be impossible for like us to just pop out a Chinese baby. So statistics can be wrong, even though they are technically right.
Right.
So that's where it's weird finding. It's like only time can really tell. But I'm just hoping that maybe in 30 years they can just 3D print me a new fucking lung.
Yeah, maybe.
They're gonna get to that point. I mean, they're using pig organs.
Well, they can even, like, I was just listening to a Joe Rogan episode, and they were talking about lab-grown meat. And, like,
Lab-grown lungs.
yeah, it's like if they can recreate something like meat off of just, like, I don't know what they use, like stem cells or something or like, just like
stem
whatever,
cells.
like, I feel like they'll be able to recreate some of that other stuff for us. But we're pushing 2 hours here.
We just got to figure out how to get enough money so that if we need a new lung,
Yeah.
we can just pay for it. So it's
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
rather
maybe-
than quitting vaping, let's just start making more money.
Yeah, it's all about problems with money.
It's all about perspective, man.
Yeah.
Want to drink yourself to death? There's livers for that.
Right.
You just got to find the money.
Yeah, it's weird because also all people are different. Like there's old fucks that have been drinking so long and they're still like 80, 90 years old, or they've been smoking their, like Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
But then there's other people who pick up a hot dog water vape pen from the local Provo plug and then a month later find themselves in the hospital.
Right,
And it's
yeah.
just, I don't know what to necessarily do about that, but you just kind of got to gauge your own life.
Yep.
And don't fucking listen to me. Just whatever you do. Don't listen to me. But this has been a fire podcast,
Yeah.
and I'm
Thank
glad
you
that we
guys for
finally
having
got
me.
you on
Yeah.
because we've been talking about this for a minute, and we always have good conversations with you. So even doing another one in the future, post-wedding pod.
Oh, dude, I would love to.
To get your change.
This has been fun. Like, it's been a vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my guy. I appreciate you coming and sharing and being honest and being you. And everybody, if you want to follow Kaden, what's your IG, my guy?
I don't even know. Kaden.white23.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll put it in
the
link.
I'm not really big on social media. I just get on there and I just get
Well, you
pissed
will
off
be
with
after
politics.
2 million people see this.
Yeah, so guys, what we're going to do is we're going to create clips from the podcast and put them on social media. So if there was a moment that really stood out to you or that was like your favorite moment, drop a comment. Maybe that was your favorite moment. Drop a comment of that timestamp and then, you know, who knows? Maybe, I mean, in the future, it'd be dope to be able to, like, reward people.
Yeah.
You know, like, send you a $20 gift card. But hopefully you tasted that burp.
Rolled taco burp.
Rolled taco burp and enjoyed this one, guys. But, yeah, we'll catch y'all on the flip.
Thank you guys for having me. This was a pleasure.
Yep.
Hey, thank
Wanted
you.
to do this for a while.
Hell yeah.
It's been
Until
awesome.
the next time.
Till
Catch you
next
on the
time.
flip.
Peace out.